Hey guys, I'm Dov, and today I'm back with more Total War Warhammer 2 multiplayer action. We're here today with the Warriors of Chaos. They're going to be taking on the Tomb Kings. We've got Wicked here, the beloved community moderator, going up against Zach Hussein, so let's get to it. We've got Archaon leading his Chosen here. We've got two Chosen with halberds, two shielded Chosen, and the Mirror Guard, a Dragon Ogre Shaggoth as well, and a couple of Marauder Horsemen throwing axes, so a relatively narrow Chaos build here, definitely relying on that elite infantry. As for the Tomb Kings, we've got some Carrion up in the air, looking like a mostly all cav and chariot build with no infantry at all. Got some horseman archers here, some Nehekar horsemen as well, chariots, a couple of Necropolis knights for some heavy hitters, Arkan the Black on his chariot, and a Tomb Prince for some additional mobile anti-large AP. He does also have Tomb Strike, so he at least has one source of temporary terror, but we're missing the main engagement as it gets underway here. You can see the units charging in. The mobile units for the Tomb Kings get in here and just do tons of damage to these Mirror Guard out on the flank. That being said, the Chosen aren't taking much damage, and you can see here the Chaos player Wicked sacrificing a few of his Marauder Horsemen to kind of get in and get on those Nehekar Horsemen. The Marauder Horsemen, specifically with throwing axes, do have a missile block chance, so in a counter skirmish they'll be a little bit better than the Javs here. That being said, Skeleton Horseman Archers, although they are slower and have worse stats, that long range bow is quite useful in a counter skirmish role as well, so a pretty even trade so far. Over here, the Chosen just kind of holding their ground. This Chosen did eat a Fate of Boring to the face, but they only dropped a single model. Did drop quite a bit of HP, but no models dropped there yet. Archaon still looking quite healthy as well, so mostly just kind of a mobile skirmish phase at this point. One Marauder is going to get chased off here, which is not the best. These horsemen getting some very good damage in on those Marauders as well. Wicked doing exactly what he needs to and just staying nice and tight here with all his expensive infantry. I mean, yes, it does kind of suck to lose these Marauder Horsemen. They're 600 points, they're not super cheap, but at the same time, he can do stuff like this, which is to try and get the Nehekar Horsemen to charge in here, and then they'll take hits from the Chosen. The Chosen will basically take no damage from this, and, you know, he's going to be able to get some value in that way as well. Over here, you can see the Shaggoth trying to force an engagement also. Does get a little bit isolated and going to come up against the Necropolis Knights. Now, these are not the halberd version of the Necropolis Knights. You can see they do lack anti-large. Only 40 melee attack as well means that the Shaggoth with his 54 melee defense from the chevrons will be able to hold firm there, and he's going to take relatively little damage. Now, if this Tomb Prince can get in, maybe get up and around the side, get a rear charge here, will get some attacks, of course, with his heavier weapon strength and anti-large here. But we'll see. Halberd's coming in to support, and Arkan himself also coming forward. He's been eating fireballs all day from Archaon. And the rest of the Chosen and the Mirror Guard here starting to grind through these Nehekar Horsemen. The other Necropolis Knights and Nehekar Horsemen just sitting in reserve for the time being. It's definitely going to be a pretty long, atrocious fight for the Tomb Kings to try and win through numbers here. They don't want to commit everything all at once. Definitely want to try and take some time to generate some value from those Horseman Archers. Horseman Archers are pretty decent. They don't have the best missile damage, but 3 AP is not bad, and 140 range is also pretty decent. However, of course, they are just skirmish cav, and the low volume of fire means that they will be able to take down probably one of these monsters. They only really need to take down the Shaggoth, that is, but the armor of the Chosen is definitely going to be a problem, and you can see how Wicked's using that in his favor here. He casts this Burning Head, which he knows is going to do a lot of damage to these summoned Skeleton Warriors and the Nehekar Horsemen, but because of the Chosen's armor and leadership, they're going to take very little damage, if at all, from that. So that Burning Head, although it would have normally done some friendly fire to, say, like Marauders or something, the Chosen held up just fine there. You can see, despite the fact, again, the Chosen are taking HP damage, they're still not dropping a whole lot of models here, despite the best efforts of the Tomb Kings all across the board. We're getting some Realm of Souls popping even, because the Tomb Kings are starting to lose out on quite a few numbers. Now, they do still have some strong tools available. Obviously, that consistent Spirit Leech on Archaon here are going to be a problem in the long term. Maybe dropping that Fate of Yuna on the Chosen with halberds. I mean, I definitely understand why he did it, but they're still mostly all still here and relatively healthy. But they are going to start dropping models now, as they do take a handful of charges here. Maybe, no, still all pretty much completely healthy, but this group gets isolated with the Mirror Guard here. Gets charged by Necropolis Knights. Necropolis Knights will do reasonably well, but again, they don't have the best melee attack in the world. Chosen with halberds, 54 melee defense. The regular Chosen are going to be even higher. The Mirror Guard, 54 as well, so they can hold up reasonably well once the charge bonus of those Necropolis Knights wears off. So, good stuff so far. Definitely pretty even, and the Shaggoth is in a bit of trouble. You can see him screening out from these Chosen. They're moving in to fight the Skeleton Warriors, and it's an absolute just pit fight at this point between these Nehakara boys and the monsters. Shaggoth getting very low, and the Spirit Leech has been a little bit broken up. We've seen it both on Archaon and the Dragon Ogre. It can be tough to know who to focus. Kolek does have less HP overall, though at this point the Dragon Ogre is very low, so you know, tough to really make that call in this type of situation. For me, I would probably say just keep that consistently on Archaon as much as you can, but oh man, Archaon had the Slayer of Kings active for just a moment there, but it did wear off before those hits came in on Arcan. That being said, Arcan's taken a couple of really big hits there, and he needs to get out as soon as possible. You can see the Necropolis Knight models kind of blocking him up a little bit, but likewise they do block up Archaon, and yeah, the Shaggoth actually routed away there. So the Shabti Summon now going to be used, and Spirit Leech on Archaon, and suddenly things start to turn for the Tomb Kings. Doesn't take much, and that free Shabti Summon especially going to do a ton of damage to Archaon. His Chosen are fighting, but they're actually, at this point, starting to take some losses, fully surrounded by Tomb King's mobile units. The Carrion, although they're crumbling, they do have good weapon strength, and if they connect on hits, they will be able to do a little bit of damage there. Necropolis Knights on a nice rear charge as well. Just this massive dog pile of Tomb King's large units. Because the Chosen are just infantry, they do have good enough mass to hold up against a lot of these things, but at the same time, they are going to be suffering. That being said, you can see, likewise, the Necropolis Knights also taking a lot of damage here. Arcan going to throw in that Liber Mortis in a very key engagement here for the extra leadership and the physical resistance. Of course, all these Chosen do have standard attacks, as there's no Flaming Sword from Archaon here to help counter that, and suddenly things are looking like Tomb Kings might be able to pull ahead here. They do still have some chariots remaining as well, and again, the Chosen just getting continuously staggered here, not really able to get attacks in this type of a situation. They'll get a handful here and there, but thankfully, again, the Chosen, because of their excellent leadership and melee defense, will hold up better than any other Chaos Infantry in this type of a situation, certainly. So, can Archaon, the Ever-Chosen, and his Chosen hold up here? It's looking pretty close, and the curse goes off, the Curse of Jaff from the Tomb Prince there. That will force an enrage onto all of these units and keep them fighting, and also lower their melee attack as well. It looks like it just wore off. We'll see. Archaon's very low. Looks like he's taking some damage from the Tomb Prince at this point. Yeah, the Shaggoth is nowhere to speak of, so it's anyone's game at this point. Definitely just a knockdown, drag-out fight of attrition between definitely a more hit-and-front focused build. You guys will hear me talk about that occasionally, but oh, Archaon gets a killing blow on the Tomb Prince there, takes him down, and Archaon will be going after Arcan and finishing him off as well with a massive blow. And that decides the game pretty much. All these Chosen with all of their leadership still and their melee defense just able to weather the absolute storm. So a very interesting game. Definitely a different kind of Tomb King build than what you would traditionally see with lots of big constructs. Yeah, playing that hit-and-run game, and it just about ended up working out there in the late game. Maybe if a few different RNG rolls had happened differently, Zach Hussein could have maybe pulled out a win there if he had gotten a big mass route, but the Chosen just holding their ground until the very bitter end there. I didn't catch, I imagine Archaon has the Crown of Command so that the Chosen actually can't be terrified when they're in that tight box. And of course, the Mirror Guard being immune to Psychology baseline does mean that, you know, the terror from the Tomb Strike maybe not going to be super impactful at the end of the day. Although this narrow of Warriors of Chaos build would definitely be vulnerable to Bow Shabti. I do think with kind of a kite build like this, it may be worth trying to find the funds to grab like one unit of Bow Shabti. Like, the Chariot ended up doing some pretty good work, and it's nice to have the mass of the Chariot, certainly, but I almost maybe would cut the Chariot and maybe bring like one unit of Bow Shabti. I know it's not exactly a one-to-one trade. You'd have to find a little bit of funds elsewhere as well. But I definitely think, you know, having that would be worthwhile. And if you're going to go with Arcan the Black in a situation like this, you can also take, you know, the faction, what's it called, the Followers of Nagash, and get access to the Hounds as well. They're not super cost effective, in a situation like this, but it just gives you another mobile option potentially. It wouldn't have worked super well against this specific build, obviously. But yeah, overall, I just think this Tomb King's build lacks a tiny bit of AP, but just about ended up working out against this very narrow Chaos build. But credit to those chosen, fighting tooth and nail until the very end. Very fun replay from Wicked, so thanks for sending that one in. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that. If you do like this sort of content, be sure to like, subscribe, hit that bell notification button, so every time I upload a new video, you'll be notified. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you next time.